There is a truth most men spend years trying to avoid. Many of the deepest pains in life do not come from sudden disasters. They come from lessons that should have been learned much earlier. A man reaches 40 and realizes he spent 2 decades trying to impress people who were never thinking about him in the first place. Another looks back on a failed relationship and finally sees the warning signs that were there all along. The signs were obvious. The problem was not that he could not see them. The problem was that he chose not to. Someone else achieves the money, status, and success he once dreamed of, only to discover that the finish line he chased for years does not bring the peace he imagined. That is one of life's cruelest discoveries. Not that we lack intelligence, not that we lack opportunity, but that we often recognize the truth only after time has already taken its price. The Stoics understood this better than most. Marcus Aurelius was the most powerful man in the world. Yet in his private writings, he constantly reminded himself of simple truths that many people ignore until it is too late. Seneca warned that we do not have too little time to live. We simply waste too much of it. Epictetus taught that much of human suffering comes from trying to control things that were never ours to control. These lessons sound simple. In fact, they sound almost obvious. Yet most men do not truly understand them until they have paid for them with years of youth, broken relationships, missed opportunities, and heavy regret. This video is about 10 Stoic lessons that almost every man learns too late. If you understand them today, you may avoid mistakes that cost other men decades of their lives. Stoicism is often misunderstood. Many people think it is about becoming emotionally cold. Others assume it means suppressing feelings, pretending nothing hurts, or turning yourself into a machine that never reacts. But that is not what Stoicism teaches. Stoicism is the practice of seeing reality clearly without lying to yourself. It teaches a man how to remain steady when life refuses to follow his plans. Because sooner or later, every man faces moments that force him to confront himself. One day, you may lose something you believed you could not live without. A trusted friend may betray you. A relationship you fought hard to save may still come to an end. A career opportunity you were certain would be yours may be handed to someone else. A dream you spent years building may collapse in a matter of months. And when those moments arrive, the most important question is not, "Why is this happening to me?" The real question is, what kind of man will I become because of this? Marcus Aurelius did not write philosophy from a peaceful retreat. He wrote while leading an empire through wars, political pressure, disease outbreaks, betrayal, and constant uncertainty. Seneca did not develop his ideas from a comfortable life either. He experienced enormous wealth, political danger, exile, and eventually a forced death. Epictetus began life as a slave. He possessed no status, no power, and no freedom. Yet he understood something that many free men still fail to understand today. If your emotions are controlled by praise, criticism, fear, desire, comparison, or public opinion, you are not truly free. That is why these lessons matter. Not because they are ancient, not because famous philosophers said them, but because they reveal truths that remain unchanged no matter how much the world evolves. A man does not transform when he collects more information. He transforms when he finally has the courage to face reality as it is. And sometimes a single truth, accepted honestly, can change the direction of an entire life. Lesson 1. Time is worth far more than money. When men are young, they usually believe that money is the most valuable thing they can acquire. They work longer hours, chase bigger opportunities, and convince themselves that once they reach a certain financial milestone, life will finally make sense. And money does matter. It creates freedom. It reduces many unnecessary struggles. It gives you options that poverty cannot. But there is a lesson that many men only understand after years have already passed. Money can be recovered. Time cannot. A lost investment can be earned back. A failed business can be rebuilt. A career setback can be overcome. But a year of your life is gone forever the moment it passes. That truth sounds obvious. Yet most people live as if it is not true. A man in his 20s feels as though he has endless time ahead of him. He assumes there will always be another chance to start exercising, another chance to pursue a dream, another chance to repair a relationship, another chance to become the person he wants to be. Then, life begins to accelerate. His responsibilities grow. His schedule becomes crowded. The years begin to move faster. One day, he looks up and realizes an entire decade has disappeared. Seneca warned that the problem is not that life is short. The problem is that we waste much of it. We waste it waiting for perfect circumstances. We waste it chasing things that do not truly matter. We waste it worrying about problems that never arrive. We waste it postponing the actions we know we should take. The tragedy is that most men do not notice the loss while it is happening. Time rarely leaves all at once. It disappears quietly. An hour here, a day there, a year somewhere in the background. Then, one morning, regret arrives. Not because life was unfair, but because too much of it was spent unconsciously. The Stoics constantly reflected on mortality because they understood that awareness creates urgency. When you remember that your time is limited, you stop treating your days casually. You become more intentional. You become more present. You become less willing to trade your life for distractions. A wise man does not measure his wealth only by what is in his bank account. He measures it by how he spends his days. Because in the end, your life is nothing more than the sum of the time you were given and what you chose to do with it. Lesson 2. Not everyone is meant to stay in your life. One of the hardest truths a man learns is that not everyone who enters his life is meant to remain there. When we are young, we tend to assume that the people around us today will always be around tomorrow. We believe friendships will last forever. We believe relationships are permanent. We believe there will always be more time with the people we care about. But life rarely follows those assumptions. People change. Goals change. Circumstances change. Sometimes the distance between two people is created by conflict. More often, it is created by time. A friendship that once felt unbreakable slowly fades. A relationship that seemed certain quietly ends. A parent who always appeared strong suddenly becomes fragile. Then one day, you realize that a chapter of your life has already closed. Many men carry deep regrets in these moments, not because they failed to love someone, but because they assumed there would always be another opportunity, another visit, another phone call, another conversation, another chance to say what should have been said. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that everything in life is temporary, not to become detached, not to become cold, but to become grateful. Because gratitude becomes much easier when you stop assuming that people will be there forever. When you understand that every relationship is finite, you begin to treat people differently. You listen more carefully. You become less concerned with winning pointless arguments. You spend more time appreciating others and less time criticizing them. You stop delaying important conversations. You stop taking presents for granted. One of the most painful forms of regret is realizing that someone is gone while you were still waiting for the right time to show them how much they mattered. The right time never arrives. Life moves too quickly for that. The Stoics taught that we should enjoy what we have without pretending we own it forever. Every person in your life is, in some sense, a temporary gift. That includes friends, parents, partners, mentors, even the people you see every day. One day, you will speak to someone for the last time without realizing it is the last time. You will leave a room, end a conversation, or hang up a phone call, completely unaware that a chapter has just ended. That is why wise men do not wait for loss to teach them appreciation. They practice appreciation while they still have the chance. Because tomorrow is never guaranteed, but gratitude can be expressed today. Lesson 3. Seeking approval will never make you whole. Many men spend years chasing something they never stop to question. Approval, respect, recognition. The desire itself seems harmless. In fact, it often disguises itself as ambition. A young man wants to prove himself. He wants people to admire his achievements. He wants to show former critics that they were wrong about him. He wants validation that he is successful, valuable, and worthy. At first, that pursuit can create momentum, but eventually it becomes a trap. Because the moment your self-worth depends on the opinions of others, your peace becomes fragile. When people praise you, you feel confident. When they criticize you, you feel diminished. When they notice you, you feel important. When they ignore you, you begin questioning yourself. Without realizing it, you have handed the steering wheel of your emotional life to other people. That is a dangerous way to live. The problem is not that approval feels good. The problem is that it never lasts. No amount of praise can permanently satisfy someone who depends on praise for self-worth. There is always another audience to impress, another critic to silence, another comparison to win, another achievement to display. The hunger never ends. Epictetus warned that if another person's words can control your emotions, then that person has power over you. Most men nod when they hear that idea. Few actually live by it. Modern life makes the problem even worse. Every day we are encouraged to measure ourselves through external reactions. Comments, followers, likes, recognition, status, public opinion. The result is that many men build their identity on things they cannot control. And whenever those things change, their confidence changes with them. Marcus Aurelius understood this danger. Despite being emperor of Rome, he repeatedly reminded himself not to depend on praise. He knew that admiration was temporary. Character was not. A man who relies on approval becomes emotionally dependent on the crowd. A man who relies on principles becomes independent of it. That is a very different kind of strength. At some point, every man should ask himself a difficult question. How many of my decisions were truly mine? And how many were made because I wanted acceptance? The answer can be uncomfortable, but it can also be freeing. If you have ever caught yourself seeking validation from people who cannot define your value, leave one word in the comments: freedom. Not because the comment itself matters, but because the word represents a choice. The choice to stop letting strangers decide your worth. The strongest man is not always the most admired man. Often, he is the man who stays loyal to his values even when nobody is watching, nobody is applauding, and nobody is impressed. Because he no longer needs permission from the world to respect himself. Lesson 4. Discipline will always outperform motivation. Most men overestimate the power of motivation and underestimate the power of discipline. That mistake costs them years. Motivation feels powerful because it creates action quickly. You watch an inspiring video. You read a life-changing book. You experience a painful failure. And suddenly you feel unstoppable. You promise yourself that everything is going to change. You make plans. You set goals. You imagine a better future. For a few days, or maybe a few weeks, you follow through. Then reality arrives. The excitement fades. The emotions weaken. The energy disappears. And now you face the moment that determines whether real change will happen. Because motivation is easy to follow when it is present. The challenge begins when it is gone. Most people only want to work when they feel like working. They only want to exercise when they feel motivated. They only want to stay committed when progress is visible. As a result, their actions rise and fall with their emotions. And emotions are unreliable. Some mornings you wake up focused and energized. Other mornings you wake up tired, distracted, frustrated, or discouraged. If your habits depend on your mood, your progress will always be inconsistent. Marcus Aurelius understood this deeply. He reminded himself that every morning he had a duty to fulfill. Not because he felt inspired, not because he felt motivated, but because it was his responsibility. That mindset separates boys from men. A mature man does not ask himself whether he feels like doing the work. He asks whether the work needs to be done. Discipline is the ability to act regardless of how you feel. It is showing up when nobody is watching. It is keeping promises when breaking them would be easier. It is continuing when enthusiasm has already left the room. Most success is not built during extraordinary moments. It is built during ordinary days. The workout completed when you wanted to stay home. The task finished when you wanted to procrastinate. The difficult conversation you chose not to avoid. the commitment you honored when excuses were available. These small decisions rarely feel significant in the moment, but they compound, year after year, choice after choice, until they create a completely different life. The Stoics never taught people to depend on emotion. They taught people to depend on character, because motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays. And over the course of a lifetime, discipline will take a man farther than motivation ever can. Lesson 5. You cannot think your way out of every problem. Many intelligent men fall into the same trap. They believe that if they think long enough, analyze carefully enough, and prepare thoroughly enough, they will eventually find the perfect answer. So they keep thinking. They evaluate every possibility. They weigh every risk. They imagine every outcome. They replay every scenario in their minds. From the outside, it looks productive. From the inside, it feels responsible. But often, it is simply a sophisticated form of avoidance. Because while they are busy thinking, life remains unchanged. No action is taken. No progress is made. No experience is gained. The Stoics understood something that modern people frequently forget. Action teaches lessons that thinking never can. Epictetus did not teach philosophy as an intellectual game. He taught it as a way of living. Knowledge was valuable only when it changed behavior. The same principle applies to nearly every challenge in life. You do not become confident by endlessly studying confidence. You become confident by acting despite uncertainty. You do not become courageous by waiting for fear to disappear. You become courageous by moving forward while fear is still present. You do not become capable through preparation alone. You become capable through experience. Many men spend years waiting for perfect clarity. They want guarantees before they act. They want certainty before they commit. They want proof before they take a risk. But life rarely offers those things. Most meaningful decisions involve uncertainty. Starting a business, changing careers, entering a relationship, leaving a relationship, pursuing a dream, moving to a new city. None of these decisions come with complete certainty. Waiting for certainty often means waiting forever. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the obstacle becomes the way. He did not mean that obstacles should simply be studied. He meant they should be faced, walked through, learned from. Many answers only reveal themselves after movement begins, not before. That is why overthinking can become so dangerous. It creates the illusion of progress without producing actual progress. The mind feels busy, but life remains stuck. A wise man knows the difference between reflection and paralysis. He thinks enough to choose a direction. Then he moves. Because eventually there comes a point where action itself becomes the teacher. And the lessons learned through action are often far more valuable than the ones imagined in your head. Lesson 6. The most dangerous man is the man who has mastered himself. Most people spend their lives trying to control the world around them. They want to control outcomes. They want to control other people's opinions. They want to control circumstances. They want to control the future. And when those things refuse to cooperate, frustration appears. Then anxiety. Then anger. Then disappointment. The problem is simple. Most of what happens in life is outside your control. You cannot control the economy. You cannot control the weather. You cannot control whether people like you. You cannot control every opportunity that comes your way. You cannot control whether life treats you fairly. Yet many men exhaust themselves fighting battles they were never capable of winning. The Stoics offered a different approach. Instead of focusing on what you cannot control, focus on what you can. Your thoughts, your actions, your decisions, your response. That shift sounds small. In reality, it changes everything. Two men can face the exact same setback. One becomes bitter. The other becomes stronger. Two men can receive the same criticism. One becomes defensive. The other uses it as information. Two men can experience failure. One quits. The other learns. The difference is not the event. The difference is the response. Epictetus built his entire philosophy around this principle. He taught that freedom begins when you stop demanding control over things that were never yours to control. Most men hear this idea and immediately think it sounds passive. It is not. It is incredibly demanding, because it requires taking full responsibility for yourself. It removes excuses. It removes blame. It removes the habit of waiting for circumstances to improve before improving yourself. The man who masters himself becomes difficult to defeat because his stability no longer depends on external conditions. Success does not inflate his ego. Failure does not destroy his confidence. Praise does not define him. Criticism does not control him. His center of gravity exists within himself. If you understand the value of self-mastery, leave one word in the comments: calm. Not because calmness means weakness. Quite the opposite. Anyone can remain calm when life is easy. Real strength appears when life becomes difficult. Seneca once observed that a calm mind possesses enormous power. History repeatedly proves this. The strongest leaders, the strongest fathers, the strongest men. They are rarely the loudest. They are rarely the most emotional. They are the ones who remain steady when others lose control. In the end, the greatest victory is not conquering another person. It is conquering the fear, anger, impulse, and chaos within yourself. Because once a man learns to govern his own mind, very little in the outside world can truly dominate him. Lesson 7. Comparison is a game you can never win. One of the fastest ways to destroy your peace of mind is to constantly compare your life to someone else's. Yet this is exactly what many men do every day. They compare their income, their career, their relationships, their appearance, their achievements, their progress. And no matter how much they accomplish, there always seems to be someone who has more. Someone richer, someone more successful, someone more attractive, someone further ahead. As a result, they begin to feel as though they are losing a race they never consciously agreed to enter. The modern world makes this problem worse than ever. For most of human history, people compared themselves to a relatively small group. Today, a man can compare himself to thousands of people before breakfast. He sees highlights from other people's lives and mistakes them for reality. He sees victories but not sacrifices, results but not struggles, achievements but not failures. And slowly, he begins to believe that everyone else is moving forward while he is standing still. Marcus Aurelius warned against this mindset. He constantly reminded himself to focus on his own task, his own responsibilities, his own character, not somebody else's path. Because the moment you become obsessed with another person's journey, you stop paying attention to your own. That is where dissatisfaction begins. There will always be people who have something you do not have. That fact will never change. If your happiness depends on being ahead of everyone else, you are choosing a standard that can never be permanently satisfied. The Stoics proposed a different standard. Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today. That comparison is useful because it remains within your control. It measures growth rather than status, progress rather than popularity, improvement rather than competition. A wise man does not ask, "Why does he have more than I do?" He asks, "Am I becoming better than the person I used to be?" That question leads to growth. The other leads to frustration. The truth is that comparison steals energy that could be spent building your own life. And the more attention you invest in other people's journeys, the less attention remains for your own. Real peace begins when you stop measuring your worth against strangers and start measuring it against your own potential. Because the only race that truly matters is the one between who you are today and who you are capable of becoming. Lesson 8. Suffering often comes from expectations, not reality. Many men spend years fighting battles that exist primarily inside their own minds. The event itself is often not what hurts them most. What hurts them is the story they attach to it. They expect people to behave fairly. They expect hard work to always be rewarded. They expect relationships to unfold according to plan. They expect life to follow a predictable path. Then reality arrives and refuses to cooperate. and the gap between expectation and reality becomes a source of suffering. A promotion goes to someone else. A relationship ends unexpectedly. A business fails. A trusted friend disappoints them. The event is painful. But what often magnifies the pain is the belief that it should not have happened. The Stoics challenged that belief. Epictetus taught that people are disturbed not by events themselves, but by their judgments about those events. At first, that idea sounds overly simple, yet it explains a great deal of human suffering. Two people can experience the same setback. One views it as proof that life is against him. The other views it as a difficult lesson. The circumstance is identical. The interpretation is different, and that interpretation shapes the emotional outcome. This does not mean you should enjoy hardship. It does not mean disappointment should never hurt. Stoicism is not emotional denial. It is emotional clarity. It teaches that while you cannot always control what happens, you can influence how you respond to what happens. Many men carry unnecessary pain because they continue arguing with reality. They replay old events. They obsess over what should have happened. They mentally rewrite the past again and again. But reality does not negotiate. The past remains unchanged, regardless of how many times you revisit it. The only thing that can change is your relationship to it. A wise man learns to distinguish between pain and resistance. Pain is often unavoidable. Resistance is optional. The more you demand that life obey your expectations, the more frustrated you become. The more willing you are to accept reality as it is, the more resilient you become. The Stoics were not trying to eliminate difficulty from life. They were trying to eliminate unnecessary suffering. And much of that suffering begins the moment we insist that reality should be something other than what it is. Peace begins when that argument ends. Lesson 9. The cost of procrastination is always higher than you think. Most men do not lose their lives through one catastrophic decision. They lose them through delay. A day spent putting something off. A week spent waiting for motivation. A month spent avoiding a difficult decision. A year spent promising themselves that they will start soon. At first, procrastination feels harmless. That is what makes it so dangerous. The cost is rarely visible in the moment. Missing one workout does not seem significant. Avoiding one conversation does not seem serious. Postponing one opportunity does not feel life-changing. But life is built from accumulated choices, and time compounds everything. The actions you repeat shape your future. The actions you avoid shape it too. Many men imagine that procrastination simply keeps them in the same place. It does not. While you delay, life keeps moving. Opportunities disappear. Skills become outdated. Relationships weaken. Health declines. The future continues approaching whether you are prepared for it or not. Seneca warned that while we postpone, life rushes past us. Few statements capture reality more accurately. The years do not pause while you gather courage. They do not wait until you feel ready. They do not stop until your fear disappears. The clock keeps moving, and every day spent delaying something important is a day removed from your finite supply of life. One of the most painful experiences a man can have is looking back and realizing he knew exactly what needed to be done. He simply never did it. Not because he lacked ability, not because he lacked opportunity, but because he kept waiting. Waiting for confidence, waiting for certainty, waiting for the perfect moment. The perfect moment rarely comes. Action creates clarity. Delay creates regret. If there is something important in your life that you have been postponing, leave one word in the comments. Today. Not tomorrow. Not next month. Not when conditions improve. Today. Because small action taken today is worth far more than a perfect plan that never leaves your imagination. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself that life is uncertain and that any day could be his last. This was not meant to create fear. It was meant to create urgency. The awareness of mortality forces you to confront what truly matters. It reminds you that time is not an unlimited resource. A wise man understands that life has already begun. He does not spend years waiting for the right moment to start living. He acts while he still has the chance, because eventually the opportunity to begin disappears. And by then, the only thing left is regret for the time that was wasted. Lesson 10. In the end, what matters most is who you become. When men are young, they tend to focus on what they want to have. More money, more status, more success, more recognition, more achievements. For years, life becomes a pursuit of acquisition, and there is nothing inherently wrong with ambition. The problem arises when a man becomes so focused on what he is gaining that he forgets who he is becoming. Many people achieve goals that once seemed extraordinary, yet they arrive at those goals feeling empty. They built wealth but neglected their character. They built careers but neglected their relationships. They gained influence but lost respect for themselves. The Stoics consistently emphasize that character matters more than circumstance. Marcus Aurelius rarely measured his life by what he possessed. He measured it by how he behaved. Was he just? Was he disciplined? Was he courageous? Was he living according to his principles? Those questions mattered more than power or status, and they still matter today. Near the end of life, very few people wish they had spent more time impressing strangers. Very few wish they had accumulated slightly more status. But many wish they had been braver, kinder, more present, more honest, more faithful to their values. Because achievements eventually fade, titles disappear, recognition is forgotten, but character leaves a lasting mark on every decision you make and every life you touch. The ultimate measure of a man is not what the world says about him. It is what he sees when he looks at himself honestly. And that is why the most important project of your life is not building your reputation, it is building yourself. The interesting thing about life's greatest lessons is that they usually arrive twice. First, as wisdom, then as regret. Most people hear them when they are young, but fail to appreciate their value. Only years later, after mistakes have been made and opportunities have passed, do they finally understand what those lessons truly meant. The 10 Stoic lessons you heard today are not new. Marcus Aurelius reflected on them. Seneca wrote about them. Epictetus taught them. And yet generation after generation, men continue making the same mistakes. We waste time as if it were unlimited. We seek approval from people who cannot define our worth. We postpone important actions. We compare ourselves to others. We fight to control things that were never ours to control. Then we wonder why peace feels so difficult to find. The Stoics offered a different path. They reminded us that while we cannot change the past, we can always change the direction of the future. You cannot recover lost years. You cannot undo every poor decision. You cannot go back and become the man you should have been 10 years ago. But you can become a better man starting today. And that is enough. Because every meaningful transformation begins with a single decision repeated day after day. If this video helped, you see a truth that many men learn too late. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more Stoic lessons on discipline, resilience, purpose, and inner strength. And remember, a wise man does not wait for life to teach him every lesson through suffering. Whenever possible, he learns the truth before the bill arrives.